Okay, so I've gotten the mask basically completed. I've been trying to get to something like this for a very long time. It is bulky in one sense, but it's also got more ability than any other mask I've ever made or even imagined. So as a run through, the epoch, all this is on. The epoch, the emotive circuits are here in this little box. The Arduino is there in the box there on the top. And the wiring goes around through there. And the accelerometer is in the chin, in the part that goes here, and then the mouthpiece is here. And this is folded up right now. It's responding to it responds to tilt. So you'll see that in a second. But the one thing I really wanted to show right now, I really wanted to show the electrodes. See, these are 3D printed. So let me see, let's do it like this. So these are 3D printed. So you can see there are little silver discs there now instead of just the black dot with the metal piece on it. That's conductive fabric. A friend of mine gave me some of that years ago, and I just kept it in my little tool bag forever and ever and ever. And it occurred to me today that I would be able to get a much better contact resolution if I were to melt that onto the surface, so that it gives me a nice surface to melt onto. It acts pretty well as a dry electrode, because the metal, the conductive fabric, and the conductive filament in the sensors are all working together to give me a decent electrical flow from my head. But it acts as a decent dry electrode, but then it also acts really well as a wet electrode. So if I put saline solution on there, the connection's even better. I don't need it. So what that means for me is that as I wear this more and more often, it will be able to get signal, whether I have saline solution or not, or whether it's drying out or not. Now, the way that I solve for that is that if you remember the sound that I played in the last video that I posted, it was basically just a sound attached to the signal coming from the electrode, right? Just kind of, it would fluctuate with it, and that's okay. But with this one, I decided to change the sound and create a different basis. There's two signals coming off of each electrode. One is the signal from the electrode, and the other is the quality of that signal. It can tell the quality of the signal, right? So I use the signal to generate. So each electrode on each side, because there's two here and then two here. You can see it. They're dualized. So there's two in the front, and each one on each side has an opposite on the other side. So those are in pairs, and so there are 7 pairs. So I've applied a sound, a harmonic for each pair, and then I use an LFO to indicate the intensity of the signal coming from that one, and then the quality is related as both volume and as a kind of rhythmic pulse, right? So when I'm not wearing it, it's off. But when I am wearing it, give it a sec. I haven't actually. Here we go. watch this. See right now. See, I get a stronger signal, right? So that is the sound. I mean, this is a preliminary sound. This isn't the this is not a final sound. This is just the first one. Let's see, is that working? Yes, it is. So you can hear the modulations, and this also has a kind of binaural beat kind of thing happening as well. So the difference between both sides creates an oscillation in between that I plan to play with more often. See? And so now you can see it. Right? Okay, so now I got strings of plastic. A second. Let me just move this speaker out of the way a little bit. It's a little bit loud. Sit that over there. So now there's also a the mouthpiece now. So we saw this in the last video. That is a very temporary sound. So, you know, that's just letting me know that the signal is being received, right? All right. So now we're gonna take it for a little test ride. Okay, some stuff's falling. All right, so this mouthpiece actually, you see, so the accelerometer's here. I have, this light is right now just responding to head tilt, and this one is responding to breath pressure. So I've been trying to figure out the a proper configuration for a long time, and what's really nice is when I'm not using it, I can put it here out of the way. It's still responding, it's still on, so I'm very happy with that. Wait just a second, let me there we go. Should probably start these videos with the gloves on, but you know. So what's interesting to me is that there's a lot of modulation happening, and it is in those modulations and their relationships that I think that I'm going to find some of the more interesting use cases for this type of interaction. I don't really want to speak on it too much yet because I don't know, and I don't know what I don't know. But I will say that it's looking pretty interesting so far. So now let's see. All right, I'm gonna turn off the light now. Wait a second. And this one too. Okay, so let me turn off the other one. So, all right, I probably have to. So that is. Okay, so that is the system. That's the system so far. Actually, let me turn this light. Well, I can leave this light off. So that's the system so far. It's you know, it's not. There's a whole bunch of stuff it's not. So we don't have to even go into all that craziness. The main things are that the mouthpiece works. The EEG system, the EEG feedback system works. There is a direction for how it will be integrated more closely. I can see how movement and the oscillations that come from that can be called into duty to actually do more brain modulation than I had anticipated before I got it up to this point. And please remember that the sound that I'm playing right now is the synthesizer I call Simplicity. This is just a this synth. This is just a calibration tool. This is not the Metabit synthesizer. See, this is just moving my fingers, you know, and I can change things here and there, but it's a very simple synth. This is the one that will be the main one for the open source project and for the crowdfunding campaign, because as soon as someone puts it on, they get a sound. And then the keyboard's job is to order the mind into the metabit concept, you know, of binary fingerings. This is not binary fingerings. This is just squeezing. The binary fingerings will be using them for the keyboard will train the brain into that modality. And then the metabit synth that I have, that one's called complexity. That's the one that's some batshit crazy shit. This is not it. This is just perfect fifths, same that the EEG system is set on. So I just I needed to record this so that I would have a baseline reference, so that as the other stuff starts to emerge in the system, I can look back and see exactly which mutation happened just about what point. So that's that. Thank you for watching the video, and there will be an endless trajectory of videos from this point forward. Cheers.